I'm in trouble, bad trouble.
And I'm never going to do anything to hurt our farmers. The One Big Beautiful Bill will also be an incredible victory for American farmers, another group that we did great with, especially family farmers.
Never thought I was going to lose this much money this fast.
Jim is a Republican who voted for Donald Trump 3 times.
How do you feel about your vote for Donald Trump now?
Well, I feel like perhaps I should have considered some other options.
I did a 90-day pause for the people that didn't retaliate, because I told them if you retaliate, we're going to double it. And that's what I did with China, because they did retaliate.
We are very concerned about the current outlook. As a soybean farmer, we are dependent on trade. Right at 50% of the soybeans produced in the United States are exported. China takes more of our soybeans than all other foreign customers combined. So they're a major part of our market, and this trade war is very concerning to us right now.
Now, I've never been as worried as I am now about whether or not my kids and grandkids will be able to carry on.
He said, I love you, Mr. Trump. I need to see the fruit of your love.
It's just been harder and harder and harder to find those people to work.
Something unusual is happening in parts of rural America, okay? And some farmers who proudly wore the MAGA hat are now asking difficult questions. Final report is telling us they believed so much in their voices will be heard. They believed in Donald J. Trump. But some, now they're feeling the pressure of rising cost, labor shortages, uncertainty. So what changed? And today on Final Report, we're going to talk about this. Let's listen to them.
Well, my friends, our farmers are in full-blown crisis, and it's not because of Mother Nature. It's because of Donald Trump's reckless tariffs that have torched decades of trade relationships and handed America's agriculture future to China and Brazil on a silver platter. 12,000 tons of pork canceled. Soybean exports collapsed, and family farms are now shutting down. And it doesn't stop there. Longshoremen, truckers, warehouse workers, entire communities are being gutted. This didn't have to happen, but Trump wanted a trade war. He wanted headlines, and now our farmers are paying the price while China laughs its way to the Brazilian soybean fields.
So somebody had to do it. I am the chosen one. Somebody had to do it. So I'm taking on China. I'm taking on China on trade. And you know what? We're winning.
You voted for the president?
Yes, I did.
And do you support these policies which might be hurting farmers like you?
Right now, we're the ones that are taking the hit.
I think he's sort of backstabbing the main people who got him into office in the Midwest, and he just left us down.
It's awful discouraging. You know, we do our very best to grow a good crop to feed the world, and then we can't hardly give it away.
Bachmann blames President Trump for the soybean crisis, even though he voted for it. He says new tariffs are forcing China to buy soybeans from Argentina and Brazil. Now many Iowa farmers face selling this year's crop at a huge loss.
The way things are, there won't be a farmer left in 5 years if things don't change, because our expenses are so high, and the crop is worth less than it was 30 years ago.
Right now, we're in a very dire situation. September is upon us. Harvest is starting in the deep south, and we have 0 bushels of soybeans on the books to be sold to China for this current crop that's about to come out of the field.
This is what happens when a bunch of entitled, MAGA voting Americans stand on a box and push isolationist policy, like tariffs. You guys said that all the other countries will be affected by these tariffs, but we as Americans are untouchable. Let's isolate America. We don't need any other countries. Let's put America first. Well, the soybean farmers who overwhelmingly voted for Donald Trump fucked around and found out that that just isn't the case for them. Most of their soybean crops are bought by China because America does not consume that many soybeans. They rely on China to buy the soybean crops. China earlier this year came out and said, ew, we don't want your soybean crops. You can sell them to someone else because we're going to go to Argentina to get ours. That's exactly what they did. And like you just heard the soybean farmer say, they have nothing on the books. They have nobody to buy their soybean crops, and they are SOL for it. I don't know, maybe you should have put America first and grown corn. You should have switched to corn, I guess. You chose to grow soybeans, which Just quite simply, I guess, is not putting America first. You should have chosen potatoes. If you wanted to go full isolationist and vote for a man who wanted to isolate us and, like, throw away our relationships with foreign nations, that's what you chose. And now no one wants to buy your crops that you grew knowing that they needed to be exported, yet voted for Trump anyways. Classic.
American workers and American taxpayers have been taken advantage of for multi-generation, for decades. And it's time for somebody to stand up and put us first and put the country first and do what's best for the country, not what's best for the politicians.
Even if you as a farmer suffer.
That's right.
I mean, some people would hear that and be quite surprised that you're prepared to put your livelihood, your family's livelihood, on the line for the sake of politics.
Well, that's my duty as for being the head of my household. I've got to do what I got to do, what's going to be better for the future, better for the kids. It's not about today, it's about the long term. The long game is where the rewards are going to be.
But don't the price of tariffs and what happens in commodity markets like soybean, doesn't that affect you in the short term and affect your ability to provide for your family?
Look, tariffs will probably have a detrimental effect on soybean price in the near future. In the long term, it'll probably work out. I'm a farmer. I deal with bad weather. I deal with dry weather. I deal with torrential rains. We deal with hurricanes. What's a tariff going to do? You know, I got to raise a crop. If I was worried, I'd stay home and not raise a crop. If I was worried about it, I still got to get out there and raise my crop to get the price. If you don't get the yield, it doesn't make any difference. You know, I got to deal with all these other things. What's a tariff? I can't control that, so it is what it is.
So I have some history with an empathy for farmers because I watch how hard they work to get this crop in the ground and its timing and the rains in spring, whether they come or not. One year it was too wet, the next year it's too dry. It's tough being a farmer. But what's even tougher is growing all this crops and having all the equipment and debt you need to be a farmer and then be cast aside by things like tariffs. And that's what's so confusing to me. The people out here in farm country, a lot of them have Trump signs in their lawns. There's a huge one up the road here. When I'm cycling over the summer, I see them all over the place. Probably see 10 to 20 in a 40-mile ride. And that indicates to us that farmers are big into Republican values, and that's the other side of the coin here. You know, what is the ideology driving people to want to be Republican? Well, over the centuries, you know, that we've had farming here in the United States, there's been a lot of deception by conservatives. You know, the Dust Bowl came about because people were told to go on out, God will help you, and rain will follow the plow. And that was a lie. And what we wound up with is agricultural conditions that basically turned the entire Great Plains to dust.
Now, welcome back. You have heard the MAGA farmers, rural MAGA farmers, okay? These are farmers that were among Trump's strongest supporters. Many rural communities, overwhelmed, voted for Donald J. Trump. They supported promises to protect American industries, to reduce regulation, and to strengthen the economy. Okay? Now, farming right now has become increasingly difficult. Why? Because there is rising of fuel prices, there is higher fertilizer and seed cost, expensive farm equipment, weather-related challenges, lower profit margins of many producers. Now, many farms depends on social workers. And right now they have labor shortages. Okay? Some stricter immigration policies and labor shortages have made it harder for certain farms to find enough workers, especially in labor-intensive agriculture. And this is affecting them big time. But they voted for it. They wanted it back. Some farmers supported tariff as a way to pressure trading partners. The trade policies, they supported the tariff. Others experienced reduced export opportunities and financial strain during a trade dispute. Some farmers, they received federal aid to offset trade losses, and others I'd argue that aid did not fully compensate the lost market in long-term uncertainty. That's to say what? What they were promised, what they were told, what they voted for is not what is happening. So the question is not whether every MAGA farmer feel betrayed. The question is, why are these long-term supporters, they are now voicing concern? Why are they now backing down? Why are they regretting? Is it betrayal? Is it because Trump was never for them? Is it because they were played? Because for many farmers, politicians often takes a backseat to economies. At the end of the day, they want to know whether they can make a living, pay their workers, cover their loans, and pass the farm on to the next generation. So there's an issue that is coming here. Because when you don't produce products, you don't get money. When you don't get money, you don't you cannot pay your workers. You cannot get you cannot pay for day-to-day utilities, So the labor shortages, it is affecting too. Okay, fruit, vegetable, and dairy operation often rely on the migrant workers. So right now there is this immigration law, and a lot of immigrants, they are being taken away. So it is affecting them big time. It is affecting them big time. Throughout American history, the rural communities have played a significant role in presidential election. Every relative small shift in support among farmers and rural voters can matter in closely contested states. Okay, but some farmers right now, they feel economic concerns are not being addressed. So some things can happen. They may continue supporting Trump while arguing policy change, but some will support other Republican candidates in the future, or even Democrats, because now Trump is losing its interest in rural areas, is losing its interest among farmers. You see what is happening? But you voted for this. You voted for racism, and racism is very expensive, and that's why this is affecting you. Because if you could not vote for this tariff push, maybe your products you could be selling. Maybe economy could not be here. If you could not vote for this immigration policy, your workers could be there. Okay? We were told that some were voting to make black people go back to the farms. It won't happen. Tell me what you think in the comment section. Peace out.